So as you all know, Trump can't help himself. He ends up fucking everything up for everybody. So he decided he was going to go to the finals of the U.S. Open tennis match. You have Jannik Sinner versus Carlos Alcaraz. So just the fact that he was going caused a massive, massive headache. So let me walk you through this here. Let's start with this one. So this guy says, farcical scenes at the U.S. Open and Flushing Meadows where thousands of tennis fans are still trying to get into the Arthur Ashe Stadium for the Alcaraz versus Sinner final, waiting in an incredibly slow-moving line to get through increased security due to Donald Trump's attendance. Understand what's going on here. Now, me and Crystal, we went to, I think it was maybe the third round of the U.S. Open tennis this year, so we were in this exact stadium. Normally, even if it's a big match, even if it's popular players, even if it's two popular players, you could still sort of cruise in that bitch, no problem. Like, it really doesn't take long, right? Really, in fact, we saw Alcaraz play some Italian player, and it was nothing. You walk right in. There were a lot of people there. The stadium was packed, but still, it was no problem getting in. The fact that outside the stadium you had this big of a line meant the increased security was also absolutely time-consuming, and so people who spent $1,000 a ticket to be in the upper deck came in late and didn't get to see the whole match. All because Trump decided he wanted to fucking go. Unbelievable, man. This person literally says right underneath, nah, I'd be fucking pissed. People paid $1,000 to sit upper deck and they can't even get in on time. Okay, but we're just getting started. So the match started late. By the way, I should also point out, that pissed off the players too. Both Sinner and Alcaraz, because as McEnroe said, he was one of the announcers, he was like, that fucks up their whole flow. Because they expect it to start at a certain time. They have a routine that they do before they play, but they ended up doing the routine and having to wait because Trump had to get in there. The stadium had to fill more. All right, but then we also got this. Ready? More news breaking at Bounces about Donald Trump's visit to the U.S. Open men's final. The U.S. Open sent an email to broadcasters obtained by Bounces ordering them to censor any reactions or protests from the crowd to Trump's appearance. So the White House told the networks, anybody who's covering this, you have to censor whatever the crowd reaction is to Trump. Now, I wonder why they would do that. They're doing that, of course, because they know, oh yeah, it's New York. He's really fucking unpopular, and so he's going to get booed. The networks were good little fucking lemmings, and they listened. But of course, we have cell phone video, and the reaction is exactly what you'd expect it to be. But let me also show you this. So this is another way they got around him being like booed by the massive stadium. Ready? So he walks in. Look how light the stadium is here. Look how light the stadium is. Because again, Trump going in there fucked up the whole process, added extra security. So this is when Trump walks in, when everything is like still sort of, super empty. And so he comes in. Watch his reaction as he walks in. Ready? Not that many people there. He's clapping. He's waving. Not many people even fucking paying attention. I'm muting and unmuting the mics. You can hear the crowd reaction. Like, there's not much going on. It's some boos mixed in with a handful of cheers mixed in with not much happening. But he loves doing the thing where he comes out. Here, let me show you again. He loves doing the thing where he comes out, and even though like nobody's really looking at him and nobody's really paying attention, he starts waving. Dude, look, hold up. Waving, look. No, he's even fucking... There's like a handful of people fucking looking at him. And by the way, there are videos, I mean, it's super fucking disturbing, actually. There are videos of him when he used to walk out of his like New York apartment in 2015. He'd walk out and start waving both ways, doing his little thing like this, start waving, and then there's videos of him walking off a plane doing that, and then you have a guy, he pans the camera, and there's literally nobody there. He'll do it if he lands at like 2 a.m. or some shit somewhere, and nobody's around, he'll still walk out of the plane and do the... start waving, do his little fist thing, and then you pan the camera, and literally nobody's there. Like, what is that? What is that? I understand that this guy loves the cameras, and he, like, fundamentally, he's an actor, right? But, like, I don't know, it's kind of weird when somebody could just pan the camera to the direction that you're doing it and nobody's fucking there. And that's happened so many times. All right, but we're not done. So here we go. Reaction inside the stadium at the U.S. Open as President Trump is shown on the Jumbotron during the national anthem. So guys, this is the dirty trick that they did. This is the dirty trick. And I have no doubt they told the stadium and they told the networks, this is what we're going to do. So towards the end, when they're doing the national anthem, towards the end of the song, when it hits the crescendo, normally they'd show an eagle or a fucking flag waving on the screen. Instead, this time they show Trump, right? And that's a trick because during the national anthem, everybody fucking cheers, right? Everybody cheers during the national anthem, especially when you get towards the end to the crescendo. It's like, yeah, of course, everybody's doing the whole fucking patriotism shtick or whatever, right? So they throw him up there thinking, oh, this basically like makes everybody have to clap for the president because really they're clapping for that part of the national anthem. It's very dirty. It's very low. It's very like, oh, here's how we could trick them into clapping for Trump in New York, right? Well, guess what? It still doesn't work as planned. Here we go. That was such a fucking... If they didn't show Trump, the sound would have been like triple what it was. But people, yeah... I'm still not done. I got more for you in just a second. Now, this one is not during the national anthem. They just show him, during the event. And listen to this. All right, and then I saved my favorite one for the end here. Ready? So Carlos Alcaraz won. He's a beast. He's just an absolute beast. And by the way, we got another decade to 15 years of watching Jannik Sinner versus Carlos Alcaraz in these Grand Slam finals because I don't see anybody else fucking catching up. Ben Shelton's shoulder's hurt. I don't know if he had in the first place. As much as I love Tiafoe, he hasn't really made it as far as we would hope to this point. There's a lot of, Taylor Fritz is great, but I don't know. Is he on the level of Sinner and Alcaraz? Doubtful, right? So we got like a decade more watching these two, and they're great. But here's Trump's reaction. Look at his face after Carlos Alcaraz wins the U.S. Open. This is not subtle. Here we go. You see his face? You see his face? This is how you know Trump's just a dipshit, and he's like a low IQ racist, right? Because Carlos Alcaraz is Spanish. Jannik Sinner is Italian. They both sort of speak broken English, if I'm being honest with you. Now, Jannik, even though he's Italian, he looks, as you can see on the screen here, he looks super white. He's got like reddish hair and he's super pale. He's tall and skinny. So like to somebody who knows no different about like what their nationality is and stuff and what their background is, you would think Jannik Sinner is white and Carlos Alcaraz isn't, right? And Trump sees Carlos Alcaraz and he thinks like, it's a Mexican. Like this is how he thinks of it, right? And usually the high IQ racists, there's low IQ racists and high IQ racists. The low IQ racists go, we got darker skin, I don't like it. I don't like it. The high IQ racists go, oh, so a Spanish person actually doesn't count as like a Mexican because the Spanish they're from Spain proper, which is in Europe. Couple points added because it's in Europe, number one. Number two, Spain is a former colonial power. So they're actually technically white. You know how they do they do like this race is so fucking stupid. It's all so fucking made up. They have like different categories. You know how they have like white Hispanic and non-white Hispanic? Technically white Hispanic, that would be like, I guess like Argentina because their skin is like literally white, right? But then that also, like Spain would be included in that because it's European and they're a former colonial power. So it's like, oh, please, they're one of us because they've like conquered the world, okay? Like this is how it's looked at. I don't know why I sounded like, what was that, Mr. Garrison, okay? I don't know why I threw that in there. But Trump's like a old school low IQ racist where he's like, oh, Carlos Alcaraz, his skin is more brown, so I'm against him. I'm surprised this motherfucker didn't send ICE to try to deport him after he won the U.S. Open. He did not look happy at all based on that reaction. So anyway, Race is so fucking, it's all so fucking stupid. Oh my God. Because guys, think about it. Irish people are considered like the whitest of the white now. Why? Because their skin is super white. Like they're very pale, right? They're just white as white can be. But back in the day, they weren't considered white. They weren't considered white at all. There were Irish need not apply here signs. They were considered, wasps looked down on them and thought they weren't white. Catholics were not considered white. The WASPs, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, they hated the Catholics. They otherized the Catholics. That's why it was a big deal when JFK got elected. Oh, he's a Catholic. Like, maybe he's going to be loyal to the Pope and not to the United States of America. This is how you know race is so utterly made up. Italians weren't considered white, right? Yannick Sinner's Italian. This is the whitest motherfucker on the planet. But anyway, Trump's a low IQ racist. He sees the name Carlos Alcaraz and he's like, I don't like it. He's some sort of Mexican, got brown skin. Fuck it, deport him. And so his facial reaction is that to what happened. But anyway, there you have it. He fucks everything up. Anything he touches turns to shit. He made it so, imagine paying $1,000 or $1,500 for a ticket and you gotta wait in a fucking hour and a half long line and you're 40 minutes late. You get in at the end of the first set or the beginning of the second set because fucking Donald Trump decided to come to the US Open tennis. Like, he ruined your whole experience. He made it so they had to increase the security and screwed you over completely. I would be so fucking angry. Are you kidding? I would vote straight Democrat. The rest, I don't care if somebody was a hardcore Fox News viewer. After Trump did that to you, you should be voting straight ticket Democrat from now until you fucking die. Ruining your day like that because he's a selfish prick. Jesus Christ. And then they tried to rig it. They tried to make it, oh, clap. Oh, by the way, I should also point out, Fox News, there's some Fox affiliate stations that ran fake applause for Trump. Trump gets applauded at the U.S. Open. And they show him standing there doing his little wave thing. And you hear fake crowd noise where they're cheering for him. Totally fake. Another Fox affiliate had some static machine to drown out, as Trump requested, don't show the crowd reaction because I know they're going to boo me. So they had some static machine almost like the sound malfunctioned when they were showing Trump. They had that going on too. But, there are people in the stadium that could show you, and you saw some of the clips where for the little moments they showed him, it was like, boo, fuck you, boo. Of course, it's fucking New York. It's New York. Of course they're going to react like that. And rightly so. Rightly so. So anyway, he really does fuck up everything he touches. But if you're president, you don't have some more important shit to fucking do? You're president of the United States of America. There was an article that came out yesterday. Health insurance costs went up 18% in 1 year. 18%. You're going to fucking bankrupt half the country with medical bills. Don't you have that to take care of? Don't you have get homeless veterans off the street or some shit? No. I'll take my time and ruin everybody's day and go to the tennis US Open. Fuck him. Fuck him. And then there was that final thing I'll point out is there was that picture, a good picture was taken with him. He's biting on some sort of pill or some sort of tablet or something. And there was a debate on social media because it was like a blue pill or tablet. And people were saying, wait a second, is it Adderall? Is it Xanax? Some people were saying it's a wintergreen Altoid mint. There was everybody was debating what it was, what pill he was caught taking. I don't know what it is, but you guys know my theory on what Trump takes anyway. I've always thought he was on some form of uppers. The fact that the motherfucker was 77 years old and doing 7 rallies a day and flying across the country and still having a pep in his step, yeah, that screams upper to me. So is that what he was taking? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know, but it was a great picture that came out that showed that. But anyway, there you have it. Ruining everybody's day as per usual. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.